It's the last day of the offsite. The meetings were productive, the energy was contagious, exactly what the team needed. The CEO pulls you aside to say, "Thank you, this was next level." And you smile because it felt that way to you too. You found the secret to delegating the logistics so you could focus on shaping your team's experience. You used Offsite. They handled the venues, the negotiations, the logistics, and together you created an experience that will move your business forward. Sound too good to be true? It's actually within reach, and it can even save you money. See how at leaderassistant.com/offsite.
The Leader Assistant podcast exists to encourage and challenge assistants to become confident, game-changing leader assistants.
Hey friends, welcome to the Leader Assistant Podcast. It's your host, Jeremy Burrows, and I'm very excited to welcome you to episode 364. You can check out the show notes for this conversation at leaderassistant.com/364. Again, leaderassistant.com/364. You'll find the transcript and the bio and all the fun stuff for this conversation that we're about to have. And speaking of, I'm excited to have a conversation with Robert Hosking. Robert is Global Executive Director at Robert Half. And first of all, Rob, thank you so much for joining and welcome to the show.
Great. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
And just to, be clear, I'm sure it should be obvious, but you're not the same Robert as Robert Half, correct?
Correct. Yes, he was much older than I am, but we do often get mistaken for one another based on initials. So
There you go. There you go.
yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about your favorite thing to do when you're not working.
So when I'm not working, and that time seems to get smaller, but I do love to travel, and that's a really big kind of part of in my life. But exploring and going to different places, meeting different people, seeing different cultures, and so whenever I have that ability to take a break, love to get away and do something that's very different than work.
Nice. Where's maybe a favorite spot that you've traveled to recently?
So I was really fortunate and was able to go to India in the fall, and it was fantastic. It was a trip that was a little unanticipated. So I had a friend that was going for work, and I was able to tag along, and we had a great time. And it was just so different than anywhere else I had been, and we learned a ton. The history, the culture, the food, the people were all extraordinary. So it was really great time away.
Awesome. So you are executive director of the administrative and customer support practice. Is that right? Is that kind of the full title there?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a long title. Yeah.
Awesome. We'll get into a little bit of that, but I want to go back in time a little bit and just tell us about your career journey and, how you ended up at Robert Half.
Sure. Yeah. So I started. I'll age myself really quickly when I say this, but I started with Robert Half when I was 2 years out of school, and that was in 1995. So it was a long time ago now. So things have certainly changed, and the business is very different. But I started in a role where I was helping people find jobs and helping organizations find great people, and have worked through a number of different roles during that time from a leadership standpoint, and then moving into learning and development in the broader Robert Half business, and then most recently in the executive director position, which again ties everything together really nicely. So still very involved in helping people find jobs and helping great companies find great people, but also working on the business strategy for the overall business practice in terms of how do we stay ahead of the trends and keep current, and really be able to adapt to what's happening in the market, and be there to again be able to help people in their career journey.
Love it. And we're going to talk a lot about that. But give us, and you kind of teased this a little bit, but tell us a little bit about Robert Half. What's the organization's mission? And then specifically, how do you all work with executive assistants and administrative professionals?
Yeah, so Robert Half it's a global leader in specialized staffing and consulting. So essentially, we're really committed to connecting talented professionals with companies that are looking for additional support, and that may be on a full-time basis, where an organization is looking to hire somebody directly, or helping those that individuals that may be looking for contract work or shorter-term project type or related work. And our mission is to empower administrative professionals by providing staffing solutions, career guidance, and skill development opportunity as well. And then we definitely help executive assistants, administrative professionals find the right roles, while advising those organizations that we work with on hiring the best administrative talent to help drive their business success. And so that includes focusing on matching skills, career goals, those evolving demands in the workplace, and emerging skills such as AI literacy and other things that are constantly coming at people today.
That's great. So, speaking of AI, how are you seeing AI impact the workplace? And of course, the assistants listening want to know how it's going to infiltrate their roles specifically.
Right. Yes. So, it's hard to believe we've had so much. I think back to the very beginning of when I started, so a long time ago, where the business was very different. The roles were very different in terms of administrative roles and how they interacted and worked within companies. And we've had so much change in the last almost, well, I guess, 30 years or so. And AI, of course, is the newest change. And I think there's some anxiety around it, and also fear around what is AI going to do for people's career? How does it impact their job? And I would say, maybe stepping back, there's a couple of things we're seeing. Number one, that AI is here. It's here to stay. It's constantly evolving. But what we are seeing is that those that adapt and work with it and embrace it are really finding it can actually help them in their jobs and in their daily duties and responsibilities, but also help organizations move forward. And administrative professionals can be the leader in that, and really be able to help organizations evolve as they embrace AI and work with it. I think from a skill perspective, there are some things that AI will likely actually do and take over. And I think we're already seeing that, where maybe there are some more clerical skills or things that are a little more transactional, where the AI can step in and actually manage. At the same time, what we're seeing is that's giving people the opportunity to do more interesting work and embrace different things, and they've got time to do things that are more strategic within organizations, and really be able to demonstrate how they can support and help an organization meet those goals professionally. And so it's there's so many tools, it's really almost impossible to keep up as far as what's coming out and how do you use it and how can it help me. But staying ahead of it is really important, and I think will continue to be as time goes on as well.
Yeah, what's the application, or how do you see the AI and assistants who embrace AI? How do you see that helping them earn a seat at the table?
So I think if you think about the seat at the table, and being able to not like I communicate well, ask for what you're looking for, and so knowing that as you learn skills or identify areas that you believe could help the business, making sure that you're standing up and saying, hey, I've got some ideas that I think could be very, very helpful, and things that could work for the organization. And in an administrative role, you see everything, and you're part of everything already. And so there's so many times when you know what's going on, or hey, this is inefficient, or this is something that doesn't actually make sense. Put your hand up and be vocal about that. Organizations and leaders today are looking for people that not only embrace change but are willing to be able to put themselves out there to talk about it and get involved with it. And maybe that's being involved in a task force or a group or that the organizations are putting together. I think the more that you're vocal and really indicate that this is something that you want to do and you're very keen to do and be able to help the organization move forward with, more organizations will certainly embrace it. I'd also say that companies are going through so much transformation right now, and there's so much change, and are always looking for people to be able to help lead through that or lead as part of that.
Yeah. So, you said you've been at Robert Half for a long time. How have organizations on maybe the executive side or the hiring side, how have they changed their perspective of assistance over the years? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you see, I know a lot of organizations, especially in Silicon Valley, are, changing the titles to executive business partner or administrative business partner, so to try to get out in front and say, hey, we actually see you as a valuable strategic partner. Did you notice, has it been a slow, steady shift in the industry throughout your career, or was there a few key moments? Back to AI, has AI been another moment where it's like, I know there was some news this week about a consulting firm in Australia laying off a bunch of assistants to offshore their work. And so I have lots of thoughts on that for a different episode, but just curious, like how you've seen companies and hiring teams and executives reshape their perspective on what an assistant is or what an assistant does.
Yes, I would say the answer is definitely yes. There's really been an evolution and more to that strategic partner, as you say, that somebody that can really be aligned with the business, with company goals, with company strategy, be able to, from a leadership perspective, to be able to turn to that person and say, I really need you to drive this, or I really need your help on this. And that's not something that anybody else in the organization likely can do because of expertise and skill and what an administrative professional brings to the organization. A lot of that comes from learned experience, having been in the organization for a while, if that's the case. And in other instances, it's taking what you've done in one environment and bringing it to the next and being able to talk about results. Here's what I did in prior role. Here's what I can do for you. Here are the results of what I did that are tangible, that really help to kind of move the business or company forward. But I would say where I look back and think to a time when administrative professional roles were very transactional. So it was very much, here's the responsibilities and duties, here you go. And we're seeing a real evolution to being very strategic. And that then gets to the earlier question around seat at the table. How do you get to that spot? Because now you're very important and you're a tangible part of the business.
Yeah, that's great. So super helpful. I know we could probably spend the whole episode on that, but I really wanted to shift probably the most of the rest of our time to assistants who are searching for a job, as I know that's one of your organization, Robert Half's expertise, right? So we'll go through a few different things, but first off, assistants listening that are either unemployed, just got laid off, are worried about upcoming cuts, or maybe they're just not happy where they're at and they want to find a better position in a different organization. How do you recommend assistants looking for a job? How do you recommend they stand out amongst the crowd?
So, it's a great question. And you hear stories of individuals that are really highly skilled, have great experience, and are struggling in some instances to even get to the stage of an interview. Then the question is, well, why is that? And so much of that comes back to that. In today's world, from a hiring perspective, many organizations are using AI-based tools to screen whether it's the resumes or job applications, and those tools are looking for specific things. So they're looking either for keywords or themes or trends or whatever it may be that are on that resume that's important to them for that job. At the same time, what we're also hearing is that those tools are screening, and in many cases, screening down to the candidates that aren't the most skilled for the job and don't have the experience, because, of course, we work with people. And so people come with skills that aren't tangible. You can't actually put them on a resume in the same way when you talk about soft skills or those ability to be able to interact with a team and build culture and all of those great things. And so I would say the number one thing is to really just make sure that your resume and cover letter really do highlight those problem solving skills and those business alignment skills. So again, back to where you can add value to an organization, and then build and demonstrate AI literacy alongside that. So again, those, you think about the traditional administrative competencies, but then how does AI literacy tie into that? So any experience working with or identifying or tools that you've worked with. Adaptability is really important, and growth mindset. So either speaking about that or tying that into anything that might be written. Certainly in interviews, you can bring that out. But in applications, job applications or resumes, a little tougher to do that. But maybe then it highlights where you've been involved with an organization that's going through growth and how you contributed to that. Leverage networking and follow-up communication, I would say, to kind of really reinforce interest in a job. I think it's important, if you're looking for something specific and it's something that you really want, make sure they know that. And so the passion sometimes goes a long way with an organization looking for someone and being able to demonstrate maybe it's an industry you're particularly passionate about, or it's in an organization that you've really wanted to work with, or people that you would really like to work with. It's okay to express that. Organizations look for people that want to be there and want to be part of their overall team. And then maybe last, I would say, strong examples of how you've been able to proactively contribute to business goals and strategy. So kind of, again, back to where what you've done before or what you're doing now can help another organization move forward. Because again, in sort of my world, everybody seems to be looking for people that can certainly help them with that.
That's awesome. So you mentioned the AI tools that are reading the applications and resumes. Is there any sort of tip that you would recommend to help assistants break through the AI hiring wall? Like, you mentioned it can be difficult to express these problem-solving skills in a tangible way on a resume or on an application. But yeah, any like quick little tips to help people get through that AI hiring wall?
I would certainly say that keeping resume clean, so not including, and again, I mean, resume is one element, and it's we you often think about a resume and document. It's what people put on it based on what they think is important and ultimately what they would like to highlight. But it doesn't certainly in any way tell the whole story. But keeping it clean, and that helps sometimes to get by that AI gatekeeper. So simple text or anything that avoids graphics, so don't include any graphics or tables or unusual fonts, any of those things, because it can sometimes confuse those systems, believe it or not, where they're looking for key things or certain things. Then if there is a job description, so something that you're specifically applying to, you can pull in some of those key words that are on the job description, providing they actually do align with your skills. So it's really important, because it's easy to have a resume created for a job description using AI. The challenge is when AI creates something, it again doesn't know you as a person. So it can sometimes put things in there that aren't necessarily right or accurate or realistic. And so it's very important, if you do use those tools, to then put the critical eye on it, everything is in fact accurate and true and really does represent you. So there is definitely editing that needs to be done. But some of those keywords that are there in the job description can help to pull through. And then certainly, again, tying back to those achievements on those applications. So here's what I did. Here was the result of that, or here's what the return was on this. I led this project and the return was X amount for the organization, or X result for the organization overall. And then I think from an interviewing standpoint, because once you get to that stage of interview, the world there has also changed. Some of those are done virtually still, and maybe the first one is done virtually. Treat that interview the same way you would as a face-to-face. So what you're wearing, how you present, being organized, have questions to ask that are tied to the role, and be very specific, very engaged, very passionate about the opportunity. Those things again go a really long way when it comes to interviewing and really trying to get through to that stage where you can be yourself, and all those other things then start to come out.
Love it. So, okay, so let's assume you've crushed the interview. Now you're getting offers. And let's say you get a couple different offers from different organizations, different companies. Any suggestions on how to, I know everyone's different, every job offer is different, but yeah, any tips on weighing job offers against each other? What are things that maybe if you're working, let's say I was interviewing with a couple people and I got a couple offers, and I was like, called Rob up and say, hey Rob, I need help. I don't know which one I should pick. What are some things that you're looking for in those job offers?
Yeah, it's great. The great news is if you're in that position where there's multiples, it's like the best case scenario, right?
Right.
You've got a couple of different things. Yeah, and also I would argue that we're still seeing in many instances individuals that do have multiple opportunities, or there are multiple things on the go, which is great. And unemployment numbers, when you really look at the overalls, are still very low for administrative professionals overall. And so that means there is opportunity out there, and that people can easily find themselves in that spot, which is great. I would say a couple of things. I think I'm a believer in the pros and cons. So I'm a believer in the, especially if you're looking at something and you're thinking, what are the things that really stand out about this role that make me excited or make me feel really good about whether it's the people I'd be working with, or the environment I'd be working in, or the team I'd be part of, the person I'd be reporting to. What does the company actually do? Does that, in fact, get me excited about it? Does it align with the things that are important to me? So building that out, and then building out the cons list. And these are things that may be focused around, what's my commute going to look like? How much time am I going to be in the car? Is there flexibility in the role? Flexibility both from time in office, but also from the way I might like to work in terms of the hours of the day that I'd like to work. And again, does this really align with where I'd like to be from a career perspective? Does it get me to that next step, which can then lead to where I'd like to be? Does it make the move? Because I think sometimes it's easy to look at comp and benefits as the only factor. And while those are really important and certainly play into it, there's a lot of other things, because the workday, we spend a lot of time at work, we spend a lot of time with the people at work, and it's important that those things feel good. I'm a big believer also of going by the way I feel in my gut about those kinds of things too. And so it's almost like, when you wake up in the morning, you think to yourself, where would I really rather go? Or who would I really rather work with? And that sometimes can actually help you make the answer, or makes the answer a little easier maybe to get to. Once you get there, and if you're weighing options from an offer perspective, I also believe that First offer isn't the only one, meaning it's always okay to come back and ask for a little bit more. And is there more that we can include? Are there other benefits or perks that are important? And even bringing those up sometimes in the interview process can help to get there from an organizational standpoint, particularly when they're putting together that package. So it can take some time and some reflection. Again, great place to be in if there's multiples, but even if there's only one, still really important to be thinking about those things and weighing those out because those are the things that will in many cases keep you engaged and excited about staying in the role for a long time.
Hmm. Love it. Super helpful. Thank you so much, Rob. These are great. Any final career encouragement tips for assistants looking for work? And I know I had an assistant client of mine, a coaching client. She was looking for months and very discouraged. And then all of a sudden she had like 3 offers within 1 week. And she called me up and she's like, hey, I need help. I got all the... So anyway, I say that to say my encouragement is keep going, keep trying, keep applying, keep taking the feedback and trying to grow and learn from it. But what are your last career encouragement tips for today?
Yeah, and I think it's a really good point around the keep going and take what you've learned from one and apply it to the next. I think is really important, and don't be afraid to ask those questions. So if you weren't successful in one scenario, ask the question, what could I have done differently? What could have helped me to stand out? And I would say that employers or prospect employers are very open often to giving that kind of feedback because you got to if you certainly got to a certain stage, or even if you were even just in the beginning stage of a process that didn't work out, they're often willing to share that feedback for people that are interested in knowing it. So that would certainly be one. I would absolutely say that soft skills continue to be a superpower and really, really important. And in the age of AI, when everything feels like it's so tech-driven and AI-driven, staying back and really focused on those soft skills, whether it's communication skills, empathy, leading with empathy, leadership skills, those things that can truly set you apart and help to make you differentiate you from others who may be in the mix. An ability to be able to kind of work collaboratively as a team. So many organizations today, as they're back in office, and so many more are looking for people who can help build teams and culture and bring people together and work between multi-departments and multi-leaders and have those skills. And so that's actually really important. And then I would say certainly continue to invest in lifelong learning. There's always things that individuals can do to be able to. What's the next and the latest and greatest? What else can I learn from? What else can I pull into? So always be learning and always be curious.
Love it. Well said, Rob. Thank you so much. Thanks again for taking time out of your day to be on the show, and super helpful insight for assistants all over the world. What's the best place for people to reach out if they want to connect with you? And then also Robert Half, like where would you recommend assistants who are looking for support and looking for help in their careers? Where's a good place for them to start?
So roberthalf.com will bring you right to our website, and kind of all of the different areas of specialization are listed there. So places to go. We have jobs that are posted in local markets. We have offices across the globe, and so for individuals, depending on where you may live, you can reach out directly to the team in local market, and that can certainly help you to get there. And again, there's lots of great jobs that are posted today, which you can certainly apply directly to. And again, somebody will follow up with you regarding those. And from my perspective, always open to individuals who would like to reach out. My LinkedIn profile, Robert Hosking at Robert Half, is a great place to go, and certainly encourage that as well. And certainly here to help as in your career journeys.
Love it. Perfect. Thank you so much. And I'll put those links on the show notes, leaderassistant.com/364, leaderassistant.com/364. Check that out and connect with Robert and the Robert Half team. So thanks again, Rob. Appreciate you and appreciate the work you're doing and what Robert Half is doing for administrative professionals and executive assistants. And thanks so much for being on the show.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. It was great.
Please review on Apple Podcasts. GoBulls.com.
The Leader Assistant Academy is an AI-powered, on-demand professional development resource. It's for growth-minded executive assistants and administrative professionals just like you. When you enroll in the Academy, you get access to the Leader Assistant course plus streaming access to the audiobook. The course includes video lessons for each chapter of the Leader Assistant book, as well as the entirety of the Leader Assistant workbook study and discussion guide. Additionally, you get access to my exclusive Academy newsletter where I share thoughts on the state of the administrative profession, behind the scenes of my business, and sneak peeks at upcoming projects. Your enrollment also includes a one-on-one 25-minute coaching session with yours truly. But my favorite part of the Academy is the AI agent, which I've named ACE. ACE is the only AI agent on Earth trained on the Leader Assistant book, workbook, course, and Academy newsletter. So if you need guidance at 2 a.m. on a Thursday because you have a big meeting coming up with your executive and you want to ask for help, you can log on to the Academy, interact with ACE, and this AI agent will help you along your journey, guiding you to specific resources that are actually helpful in that moment. To find out more and enroll in the Leader Assistant Academy, visit leaderassistant.com/academy.